This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov Gang. Tonight, Martin Luther King Jr. would be ashamed of the Democratic Party. Our guest this evening, Mark Lutchman, aka the colored conservative that made a recent video on that very topic. Mark, what a pleasure and an honor to have you on the Glazov Gang.
Thank you. Very nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
And it's great to have you here. You're a courageous and a very noble young fellow. What a story you have to tell, and what a powerful video. Now, Mark, before we get to that video, I was banned off on Facebook recently for some really surreal stuff. I was threatened by a member of the Religion of Peace, and I complained or posted about the threat. I got banned for complaining about being threatened. Annie Cyrus, the producer of this show, is always consistently in one form of Facebook jail or another. What's happened to you on Facebook, my friend?
Well, Jamie, I think the better question is what hasn't happened to me? I mean, so my story is something that a lot of people really need to hear more often, because I've gotten hit harder than Diamond and Silk. I've gotten hit harder than everyone. I mean, I'm not talking just an algorithm that's put on my page to suppress my viewership. I'm talking a complete and utter shutdown of my page and a complete blacklist of my URL. If you try to type in the URL for my site, thelutchmanreport.com, it will not let you. It will automatically mark it as spam, and it will not post. And that works on Messenger. You can't post it, and that it's the same for on Facebook, the regular Facebook. It won't post. And this resulted in a complete loss of my business, my income, everything that I've worked so hard to build from September of 2016 all the way to the anniversary of the election on November 8th, 2017. My whole page was shut down, have not gotten a response from Facebook. You can't call them. Even a lawyer can't reach them. They won't even answer the lawyer. It's ridiculous how much power Facebook really has in today's society.
Mark, you built up, if I'm not mistaken, about 300,000 fans on your Facebook page. You were able to support yourself, to have a business, and they literally destroyed your life by just taking it down without any notice or explanation.
Yeah, and the worst part is, Jamie, more than anything, I want answers. I want to know, who's the one? Was it an employee at Facebook maybe? And are they covering up for him? Was it Mark Zuckerberg himself? And these are questions that I've been asking for about 6 months now since it's happened. I went from doing my business full time to now working back at the diner that I used to work at, back to serving food. I'm back to square one after building something for a year, taking a year and a half out of my life to build something. It's just all taken away by this billion-dollar company and leave me with absolutely nothing.
Well, I'm so sorry that that's happened. How normal and how usual for the left to act in a totalitarian manner and also to destroy lives. And we know what this is about, Mark. Do you think that if you, as a black American, on your Facebook page would have been sobbing about the victory of Donald Trump, and that you would have been a huge supporter of Obama and Hillary and the left, I think you'd still be on Facebook in terms of that particular realm of Facebook.
Jamie, not only do I think I would still be on Facebook, I believe I would also be thriving on Facebook. I mean, you look at some of these liberal pages, I've not seen one taken down. But on the other hand, I can name you at least 10 pages who were just taken down. Those are business owners that got ruined by Facebook, and no one's talking about what's going on.
Yeah. Well, Mark, look, you have perpetrated a certain crime, a thought crime in the left's world. because yeah, they punish conservatives and they punish truth tellers about Islam, and there's different, you know, but you're in one special category that the left just reviles. Because you're a conservative, you're for Trump, but you're also black. Now, the left likes to say the conservatives are racists. But, you know, the left looks at you and thinks, oh, we're not going to follow Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech or dream. He has black skin. He's supposed to think this way, correct?
Correct. Absolutely.
Absolute racism. Your skin color should determine the way you think, and you're violating the way that they want you to think. Can you comment on that? And that will be a good way for us to enter the door of your video and to discuss your video.
So I think the problem with my racial community is that they've been fed so much of this propaganda, this leftist ideology, that it's just like they've been taught that they need to be activists, that they need to go out and solve all the social problems of the world. And the problem is they don't know how to do it. They're bullying people like myself. I have plenty of black conservative friends who think just like me. And you'd be surprised, Jamie, how many of us there really are. I mean, I can name you probably about 20 to 25 of my black friends that voted for Trump. And you'd be really surprised that they really can't come out and say that they did, but believe me, their numbers are there and their numbers are really strong. And these are the ones who really think outside the box and who don't, you know, let other people push them around and tell them how to think.
Right now, Mark, these let's say these 20 friends of yours, 20 black friends that voted for Trump or support Trump, correct?
Oh yeah, I know tons of people from
right.
so many different walks of life, and I can tell you right now.
Okay, but they're 20 black. Let's say 20 black friends that like Trump, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can I ask, are they white supremacists?
Of course not.
No, it's my facetiousness and my humor, because this is the absurdity of the leftist viewpoint and the way that the left slanders anybody that's for Trump, that everyone's a white supremacist. So how do you explain that so many black people are actually for Trump, right?
Well, that's the thing. They've broken free of that thought, and they've realized that it's not white supremacists who support Trump, even though that there are a few. That doesn't mean that the people who like Trump are also white supremacists. I mean, you had communists who liked Hillary Clinton. Does that mean all Hillary Clinton supporters are communists? Absolutely not. I know a lot of great people who voted for Clinton too. And, you know, but to sit there and generalize an entire voting group, you know, on just a few people, it really shows that they've run out of arguments.
Absolutely. Now, Mark, you did a very powerful video on this, and everybody watching this show, go watch it. Martin Luther King Jr. would be ashamed of the Democratic Party. Just Google that. Martin Luther King Jr. would be ashamed of the Democratic Party. The colored conservative, Mark Lutchman, you'll be able to watch it. Mark, what inspired you to make that video? And tell us a little bit of what it was about.
So I remember it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And, you know, I like to go on Twitter and I like to look at what both sides are saying. I look at, you know, what we're saying, people like you and me, and I'm also looking at what people on the left are saying, because, you know, that's what we should do. We should at least hear what each other are saying so that way we can refute them in the way necessary. But there was an influx of people who were just saying things about Martin Luther King that just didn't make sense. For instance, putting him side by side with Malcolm X. Now, I don't know how you view your view on Malcolm X, but in my view, I believe he was a radical. You know, he sort of radicalized the black movement, and to compare Martin Luther King to someone like Malcolm X, that's what kind of triggered me into, you know, so to speak, into really creating this video and kind of debunking some of the common myths that people perceive about Martin Luther King.
Okay, and thank you. And why would Martin Luther King Jr. feel that the left betrayed his vision?
Because Martin Luther King had a very concise point, and that was that we should not base another person based off the color of their skin, but rather by their character. Now, the problem with the left is that's literally what they do. I mean, they look at someone like me and they think that I'm a traitor. They think that I am not even black. I lost my black card. That's actually a thing, Jamie. If you don't know about that, the black card. Once you lose your black card, you're no longer black. So I've lost mine apparently. Says a lot of liberals.
It's incredible that the left. No, no. Of course, we've had a Candace Owens and so many people, as we know, Larry Elder, and they all get this slander on them. It's incredible that the left believes that it can take your blackness away from you. And Mark, let me ask you this: tell us, the left says that conservatives are racist. But tell us about some of the names that you've been called by leftists and black leftists for actually getting off the Democratic plantation, for the crime of getting off that plantation.
Yeah, so my whole entire life, I was bullied by people of my color. And, excuse me, so when people ask me if I've been a victim of racism, I tell them, yeah, I have. But surprisingly, it's not people of other ethnicities that are, that bully me and ostracize me for thinking a certain way or behaving a certain way. You see, Jamie, when I was in high school, it was because I spoke proper English. I didn't, I wasn't walking around school, using slang words, and I wasn't talking to the teacher like it was one of my homeboys or anything like that. I was, very articulate, and people didn't like that. Well, see, I'm from Philadelphia, and the people that I went to school with, it's a whole nother. It's almost like we live in whole different worlds. Like they're into the culture of being down. They're into the culture of what the Democratic Party kind of wants them. They want them to have that culture where they're speaking improperly, they're acting quote unquote ghetto. And I kind of moved out of that, so that's when they attacked me. Now it's because of my political views, and the problem is they don't seem to understand that this is exactly what the Democratic Party wants. And that's why I made that video saying Martin Luther King would be ashamed of the Democratic Party, because I knew that that's exactly the mentality that the left wants black people to have. So inherently, they are the true racists in this scenario, and it is not the conservatives, because I've gotten plenty of support from so many conservatives. I've built up a fan base of 300,000 before, and my new fan page has 100,000 followers that are all very, very loyal, and they love my stuff. They support what I do, and it's crazy. The racism isn't coming from the side that they say they are. In most cases, I believe.
Right. Mark, we're running out of time, so just please very briefly, but I got to get this question in, because in your video, very shrewd, very perceptive, you see a lot of things. I've studied the left my whole life, and it's very interesting, this whole Saul Alinsky tactics and what Obama does, what Hillary does, Dinesh D'Souza has exposed what they do. They try to pretend, for instance, that they're middle class and that they love the middle class, but they do it to destroy the middle class. And we know that the left has hurt the black community so much over the decades. How could you like a community if you keep hurting the community? You said something very, very profound, that the best way to destroy a community is to pretend to be on their side. Could you comment on that, please, briefly?
Well, Jamie, I think the problem that a lot of people of my color have, they don't realize that the Democratic Party isn't really on their side. They're kind of pretending to be, because obviously they need voters. They need to make them go to the Democratic Party and vote for them every single election. And that's how they do it. They do it by grandstanding on racial issues and on all these liberal issues that they want. But you notice that when they're in power, nothing gets done. Look at the city of Philadelphia. Drugs are rampant. If you go down to Kensington, and you'll see it's like The Walking Dead. It's like Zombieland. You know, when Democrats are in power, they're horrible. They don't do anything. They don't get anything done. But when it's election time, that's when they're really doing all the talking, and they're all talk.
Absolutely, Mark. How did you, as a Black American, end up not being just one of these trained robots and just, you know, clapping for Obama, being part of the left, staying on the Democratic plantation? Was there a moment in your life, or was there just an accumulation? Was it somebody that you read? Was it a figure in your life? Could you name us one or two things that didn't let you go into that leftist brainwashing cult?
It's a great question, Jamie. And, you know, when I think about it now, I think a big part of it were my parents. You know, my mom raised me so well. She was tough. She didn't try to be my friend. She tried to be a mother to me. And, you know, she's always been really great to me and taught me a lot of values and morals. And I kind of grew up with that mentality, you know, that to never put yourself down like that and act like, you know, you're from the ghetto and try to make something better out of yourself. And I've always had that kind of mentality throughout my life. So I think that with all that already instilled into me, I kind of looked at the political scene and kind of saw which side, you know, was tough, and which side was, you know, were little victims. You know, the victimhood mentality just grows more and more on the left. They want, you know, things handed to them. I see that as a big problem in this generation, and I think that if more parents instilled, you know, these kinds of values on their kids, we'd be living in a much different place. I don't think there'd ever be a Democrat in office again.
Mark, thank you so much. You are a gentleman and a scholar. I always hate to kind of break it to the new members of the Glazov Gang, but I might as well tell you now, we don't always tell people before they become a Glazov Gang member. Mark, now that you're a member of the Glazov Gang, you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Okay?
Thank you so much, Jamie.
Oh, you didn't even get a little bit scared. Okay, fantastic. Mark, for all the people watching the show right now, they're on the edge of their seat. They want to get involved. They want to support you. They want to start following you. Where do they go?
So you can go on Twitter and follow me at Mark Lutchman. That's MarkLutchman. And you can also follow me on Facebook as The Colored Conservative. And I'm also on Instagram, _colored_conservative. And you can reach me there. I'm posting daily.
Fantastic. Mark, what an honor to have you on the program. Keep up the fight for liberty and for the truth. You're a stand-up guy. Thanks for everything that you do.
Thanks so much, Jamie.
Thank you for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Lutchman, The Colored Conservative. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow him, support him. And right when you finish watching this show, if you haven't seen it, Martin Luther King Jr. would be ashamed of the Democratic Party. Mark Lutchman, The Colored Conservative. Watch the video. We'll see you soon on the Glazov Gang. Good night.